Good afternoon and welcome to today's event. My name is Shreeraj Patel, Chair of the Winnipeg Chamber of Commerce and Vice President of Commercial Financial Services at RBC. On behalf of the Winnipeg Chamber of Commerce, I'd like to acknowledge we're gathered today on Treaty 1 territory, the traditional land of the Ojibwe Cree, Oji Cree, Dakota, and Dene Nations, and the homeland of the Red River Métis. Reconciliation with our Indigenous communities is an important and ongoing journey the Chamber is committed to, and we challenge each and every one of you to join us on this journey. The Chamber was built 147 years ago by community and collaboration, and we know our community is strongest when it is diverse and inclusive. And as businesses, we need to reflect the community we serve. When there are seats around the table for individuals with different voices, life experiences, and insights, we become better organizations with even better global insights and understanding. But where do we start? Well, that is why we're here today with Francine Bahati and Odette Bueckert, two of the three founders of Black Owned Business Manitoba. Our luncheon today is titled, How Your Business Can Support Diversity and Inclusivity. And on behalf of the Chamber, I thank each of you for committing to be here today. As a son of immigrant parents, I know the issue of racism and inequalities can be difficult to talk about, but it is a critical conversation we all need to have. At the Chamber, these critical conversations are a priority for us and our members, and it is a leading important decisions we are making for our programming and events. From our call for speakers initiative launch during the summer, to our online newcomer employment hub pilot we are launching in 2021, to another major commitment we will be announcing in March 2021, we are committed to supporting diversity and inclusion in our community with actions that affect change, meaningful change. I look forward to sharing these exciting developments with you shortly. And the work hardly stops there. There's a lot of work to be done in this space, but let's start today together. Today's conversations with Francine and Odette will dive deep into what diversity, inclusion, and equity really means. Francine and Odette will share their stories and shine light on how your business can take meaningful action. We will also take time to discuss positive impacts of hiring and practicing diversity, equity, and inclusion. Before we welcome our keynote speakers, I wanted to thank our Chamber champions and Chamber leaders. This year, we had 10 companies step up as champions and 3 step up as leaders. Thank you for your continued support of the Winnipeg Chamber. I would also like to say thank you to our title sponsor, Assiniboine Credit Union, networking sponsor, EY, and to our registration sponsor, Red River College. We encourage you to get on social media to join in on the conversation using the hashtag WCCBiz. We'll be jumping into our fireside chat with Francine and Odette shortly, but before we do so, I want to explain how today's luncheon will work. The first half of today's program will be a fireside chat with Francine and Odette. For the second half, you as an attendee will be joining a breakout session with other members to discuss today's topic. So stay tuned. I'll provide more detailed instructions after the fireside chat. Okay, let's get us started. I'm extremely excited to introducing to you our today's keynote speakers. Francine Bahati and Odette Bueckert are 2 of 3 founders of Black Owned Business. They are also siblings. For those of you who may not know, Black Owned Manitoba is a business directory which was launched this past June and highlights, promotes, and celebrates Black-owned businesses, professionals, and creatives in Manitoba. The goal of Black Owned Manitoba is to empower the Black community to pursue entrepreneurship and build sustainable wealth that can be passed on to the next generation. Francine and Odette aim to give the Black community in Manitoba a voice, promote economic opportunities through entrepreneurship, advocating for Black professionals to be represented in positions of power in larger organizations and corporations. Francine and Odette are business owners themselves. Francine is the owner and founder of Queenfidence Cosmetics by Francine B., which is all-inclusive Black-owned beauty brand which sells cruelty-free and vegan makeup. Odette is the founder of Timely Staging and Design, which provides professional home staging and design services in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and surrounding areas. Francine and Odette are from a small town in the Democratic Republic of Congo. At a young age, they were forced to flee their home country due to civil war. They migrated to Winnipeg in December of 2012 after living in Uganda as refugees for 10 years. Welcome, Francine and Odette.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Excellent. This is truly an honor and a privilege for me. So if it's okay, I'd like to get right into it and ask you a few questions. So question number one. First off, thank you for being here today. How are you both doing?
We are doing amazing. We are, taking one step at a time, one day at a time. With everything that is going on, we can only hope for the best and kind of fill our cup with positivity so that it doesn't affect us. So.
Love it. Love that mindset. Yeah. I read it in your bio, and I want to take time to address this important part of your story. Just a few minutes ago, I shared how at a young age, you and your family were forced to leave your country, Congo, due to civil war. Can you both share more about the experience and how it impacted who you are today?
I think that experience taught us to be very resilient, and it taught us to be to be grateful for the small things that we have. Even when we come here, we see how sometimes people take things for granted. And I think being a young person in war and seeing all these things that you shouldn't be seeing at 8 years old gives you a different perspective when you grow up. So I think that it really changed who we are today, made us stronger, and yeah.
Yeah, just like Odette really said, I think just looking back, growing up in a war zone and just our experience living in Uganda, definitely it's really shaped us on how we view life, shaped our perspective, and kind of give us a sense of gratitude with even the smallest things. Even like Odette said, the things that people take for granted, we definitely know how important and how to be grateful it is. And as well, it really taught me to be strong. I look back and I often say there's nothing I can face right now that can really throw me off, because it feels like I've been through a lot. I've seen everything, all the hardship and all the trauma, and despite everything, there's nothing I can change. But however, it's just kind of make me a better person of who I am today. And I think through my story, it's something as well I often say, it's what we went through, it's just not for us, but as well to inspire another young girl who is still maybe back home in a refugee camp, or maybe still in a displaced place in Congo where they're seeing this trauma. Maybe their mothers have been sexually molested because of things that is going on. But I think just to give hope through the story, through our struggles that we went through, to give back and to inspire people through our story. And I think I'm grateful despite everything that we went through. I'm grateful for how it shaped us. It really shaped us, and I think we've learned so much about ourselves. And even I think through what we went through, it's where it really taught us the spirit of entrepreneurship. Yeah. It's through that we kind of started even selling things. Our mom would give us stuff and going door to door to sell those things that kind of give us a survival mentality and a spirit of just thriving even in adversity. How can you thrive? How can you make better than that? How can you look and just know that there's going to be tomorrow, but you're going to have to live for today, for now, and forget about tomorrow. So I think, I'm grateful because it has allowed us to be who we are today, to even open our businesses because of the lesson we've learned, and to thrive for more always.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much. That's unbelievably inspiring. Amazing. Thank you for sharing. This year, the Black Lives Matter movement has been at the forefront. The tragic death of George Floyd shone a light on the racial inequalities that have been a part of our society for far too long. Where were both of you when you saw the George Floyd video, and what went through your minds as you watched?
For me personally, I was in my bedroom, and I don't know what day of the week it was, but I was in my bedroom and I feel like I froze. I just couldn't move my body. And knowing that when the war started back home, I think I was six or 8, you kind of suppress that feeling, those images you're seeing. cursing dead bodies. And then one day I wake up and I'm seeing this video on my phone, this man dying right in front of me. I just felt like I felt traumatized. It was such a big trigger for me. And that whole month, maybe it took me 2 months, I just felt so much pain. I felt like I was crying. I just couldn't believe what I was saying. And I was like, something has to happen. Something has to change. This is not normal. So it was a very big trigger for me.
Just like Odette say, I think definitely around that season, I think it really was a very tough season for me personally as well. Just kind of bring up so many memories that I buried as a young child, and seeing injustice and just seeing Congo, our country, being invaded by people as well, and people being treated unjustly, right? So seeing the George Floyd and people just protesting, it brought so much memories, brought sadness, and just thinking that, nobody deserves to be treated like that, and especially when it's based on because maybe the injustice based maybe the way they look, or maybe based on maybe their religion background, or it doesn't matter what the differences, and then you get to be treated unjustly. And I feel it really pained me, and I think it was something I couldn't finish the whole video because I could not finish, and it was a sad moment, really sad time.
I was overwhelmed almost to the point of tears.
Yes.
It was very traumatic to see that. So again, thank you so much for sharing that. There's a discussion around if Black Lives Matter movement is a moment in time or something more transformative, and whether people are taking meaningful action after posting a black square on social media or sharing a hashtag. Odette, how do you respond to the future of Black Lives Matter and the role of social media in moving from words to actions?
Okay, let's first take a step back and remember in June how much crazy the whole world, the protests went on. I think it was like a movement worldwide. Let's talk about Winnipeg. It's all started on social media. So, we came up with this campaign, people came up with this campaign, and then we're all there protesting about the injustice that minority people are facing right now. And I think once we are, everybody came to the protest, and that's all great. And people are posting the squares, black squares on social media. That's all great. But now the next step is, what are you doing after the protest? What are you doing after the hashtag? So, and that's why we came up with this idea of the Black Owned directory. Is okay, now you've put the hashtag, you've put Black Lives Matter on your bio, you've come to the protest. That's all great. What are you doing? All these all these black owned you want to support. Are you actually supporting them? And that's why we think now, okay, social media is a great place to come to start movements, to promote a cause. But we need to do more than just the hashtag. We need to now act. So, and one of the things that Francine always says, what we keep saying is, have a challenge in a month. How many times have you gone to a small business owner or a black-owned business that you've shopped at? There's certain things that you don't have to get from Walmart that you can get from a small business owner. And right now, more than ever, small businesses, black-owned businesses, they need support, local support. And so you can tag them in your stories, but you need to do more than just tagging.
Yeah, just to add up on what Odette said, I think for me, looking back, it's really kind of just moving to action. I realized how it kind of create a sense of people having this dialogue, important conversation, whereby people used to shy away about a race.
Yes.
Like when you bring a race conversation, people shy away, they're
talk
intimidated
about
to
that.
saying the wrong things. And I think this movement, it kind of allow people to be more free, to have an open mindset, to listen, and to see you cannot say the wrong thing, but as well, you don't need to keep quiet. When you see, I saw a movement where people start speaking out, just and it was not just for the black people only. Everybody came together. It was so empowering for me to watch that and seeing when people are attacking each other, then you find another race kind of people defending the other person. It's really was empowering for me to see that and to see that there's an open dialogue.
Happening,
because I think change comes when this conversation comes.
sure.
They may be hard, they may be like uncomfortable to talk about, but the more we talk about, the more we find like a common ground, the more we find solution how we can move forward. What are some of the things that black people that are facing that maybe you don't know about? And I think the more we share our stories, the more we get to learn. And I think as well, personally, and I feel Odette forgot, is that it gave the black people a sense, I will say confidence,
Yes.
to speak about their story, to come out.
Yes.
And I'll share Odette's story because I think she forgot. She has a business as a timely staging, and for the longest time, she was always afraid to put the name through her business. She was always afraid to put that because she never wanted people to disqualify her once they find out she's a black woman. And the same with me as well. So you find that so many people start coming out, sharing their stories
and owning.
And it's mind-blowing, the stories that we even kind of start people sharing about their fear and fear of showing up and putting their face, which it's not fair, it's not good to be afraid because you're a black person, you feel that people won't accept you, right? And I think this movement really kind of brought that to light and kind of bring people, okay, we can stand up, we can show up to the world, we can speak about all these important issues, we can raise voices, and I saw a movement within young people, like people that are talking about important issues that for the longest time people have been avoiding. So I think for me, that was empowering, that was freeing, that was something that was like, we are heading somewhere, we are stepping away, we are one step forward to see change. And I'm telling you, so many people that they had not even heard about maybe the issues that other minority faces. Through this movement, the Black Floyd really it changes people's mindset, it changes people's view on how, like, that you don't need to be afraid, you need to speak up, you need to use your voice, because at the end of the day, we say that change, that we expect the leaders to create change or to be the change, but I think the change comes through us. It comes within ourselves individually. Where you are, you gotta have to make sure that you make a difference wherever you are, and speak up against any injustice that you may face. So I think for me, I saw so much positivity out of the movement, the Black Lives Matter movement, and
I love what you shared there. Your bold call to action by conversation and educating yourself and learning each other's stories, I think is so empowering. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
So we have Michael Okoye, founder and director of Rent Your Ride, here to ask a question.
Hi, Odette and Francine. I'm Michael Okoye, founder and director of Rent Your Ride. Aside from Black Owned Manitoba, you two are both entrepreneurs like myself. As business owners, were there barriers you both faced or a time you felt racialized?
Yes, I think there have been so many times where I go to maybe to a consultation and somebody looks at me and definitely, I'm not getting the job because I'm not somebody they expected. They just, this is really beautiful. It can be a black person. So I've felt that so many times, but at the same time, that has been a motivation for me, and also, like Francine said, that has been a time. That's the reason why I had the fear of putting my bio, like the owner. When you go, like right now, I have it, but I'm still like, okay, I'm gonna put it, but I haven't put it because I don't want people to judge my work according to who the owner is. I want you to see my work and be like, she's good. I'm gonna hire her despite of. So I felt, and that's maybe, and I know I'm not the only one who has felt that fear. Like I printed brochures that I usually leave in homes. I'm supposed to be living in homes. I have them in my vehicle right now. I started after the Black Lives Matter campaign. I started now leaving them in homes, and now I am getting repeat work because now the movement gave me the strength and be like, you know what, I gotta own what I do, what I own, and so I've felt that sense of being racialized in my business, but I just don't think with 2020, that shouldn't be an issue that we're so struggling with. And Francine, you want to add on that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think, yeah, I think just like I shared is that going to different trade shows, and sometimes I would say specifically local shows that I will apply, and sometimes I'll be rejected once they go to my website and they see, okay, she's Black and all that.
And
they
they
just
would
kind of
accept you,
categorize
right?
you in a different kind of box, and then I think it's something as well. Just you some of the opportunity that you can, the doors that you knock and you won't be accepted just because you're a Black person. For instance, I think one story that really stood out is that when we're conducting some interview with Black Owned, there was this lady who she owns basically a restaurant, and we share with her, have you encountered any sort of racial whereby you're being treated unfairly because you are Black or stuff like that. So she was like, there was a specific event. She wanted to have a lease for her business, a restaurant business. And so the landlord, once she saw her, she said, no, she won't give the lease to her.
You won't afford it.
She won't afford the lease. And then later on, after she went and bring back her friend, a white friend, and then she got the lease. So you find that those are the issues. Sometimes people that non-Black people don't realize that those are things that sometimes you get being barriers that you face just because you're a Black person. And I think,
So they racially profile you that, no, she's not good because she's Black. Or she can't afford this because she's Black. And you see it happen all the time. Like you go somewhere, you go in a store and you're like, you know what, I want to buy this. And then somebody looks like, you're like, can you afford it? I'm like, you know what, I can afford this and even buy for you and for people around you. But, but people look at you and judge you because of how you look. Yeah. And I think that's, that those are things we need to address and talk about them, and then maybe people will see that is wrong.
Right. So. Well, great question, Michael. There's been a lot of emphasis on the trio: diversity, equity, and inclusion. Francine, why is it important to reference all three? What do each of them bring to the table?
Oh, wow. I think just going back to diversity, when I think about diversity is bringing different people at different background, different experiences within either business setting, organization, or place. And I think with diversity is strength. However, diversity cannot just work alone. It has to be inclusion, because looking back, I see that diversity has always been there. But I think that the most important thing and the issue is about the inclusion part of it. When you have diversity, whether within your business setting or organization, or even whatever, the diversity, their opinion heard? Can they share their opinion? Can they voice their opinion? But because you find that when there is diversity and inclusion, people tends to bring innovative insight for ideas. People thrive together because everybody feels valued. Everybody feels like they're welcome, they're part of the team. And people, once you include people, once people feel that they are welcome and they're valued, they bring so much to the table. And I think inclusion is about impact and empowering. It empowers people, and it taps into people's potential to even produce more. And I think equity as well is about people having same kind of equal opportunities, equal advancement, so that we can all thrive together. So no group or nobody has more opportunities than the other. So all three kind of work together. And you will see that companies or organizations that have that, they're not only people, diversity just for the show or for the numbers, but really they are tackling into the three issues, and and their team, you find that they thrive more, they produce more, and you find there's harmony because you kind of respect everybody's difference. You have your experience, you have life experience, you have a culture, and I find you have something to give that I don't know. You have something to share that I may not have. I have a different perspective of how I view life, or I see challenge, on how I can tackle different problem, or how I can solve a problem different than maybe Odette or even you have. So when we bring all these things, differences and experiences together, we can be limitless. And I think, imagine a place where there's these people from every race, all gender, and everybody's all together, and they all working towards a common goal to climb the ladder. Everybody has equal opportunities, and I think it's so empowering to see that. And I think that is something that we need to work on, inclusion, the inclusion part of it. People have to be part. When you have diversity in your organization, they have to be part of that decision-making process in your organization, so they can basically reflect the community that we have. For instance, in Winnipeg, we have a diversity community, but you find that some of the people that are making decisions, they are not making decisions based on that other people's other groups. So you find that you're missing out something. You're missing another demographic that you can tackle into, so basically, yeah.
Wow, I love that. I love kind of focusing on unlocking the potential of people, but also the community.
Yes.
By focusing on these three goals. Amazing.
Yeah.
I could do this every day, talking to these two. Many businesses are looking to make a change to become more inclusive and diverse, but they don't necessarily know where to start. Odette, what can businesses do to create that change within themselves and their organization?
I think the first step is to acknowledge the unconscious bias that you might or might not have. The awareness that, maybe there's a bias in a hiring process, maybe there's a little bit of a bias. So acknowledging that would be a very first step, having that awareness. And also, after you have that awareness, now you can offer diversity and inclusion training. So if once you know that, okay, maybe there's bias in my organization, now let me offer training to assist the team and helping them on how to grow the company or to grow the organization. And then once you do that, and I also, another thing that organizations can do is acknowledge other culture holidays, or so let's say at the end we're in the holiday season, you can always go to any of your teammates or any of the employees and ask them, how do you celebrate Christmas? And then once you know these things, next year they might say, I don't celebrate Christmas, but I celebrate this holiday. And the next year, like, okay, instead of going for a retreat on this day, we're going to change because this person has this holiday. So they kind of feel valued, and that you acknowledge that their difference and those holidays, that they're very important to them. And then one other thing I can really say to the organization, if they want to really bring a difference and have more inclusion, is mix up your team. If every organization is different, every company is different. So if you say you have a team of people that are doing a certain project, don't put only people that have they look alike. Have different perspective, different people. This way, because the way I would think of a solution would be a different the way Francine would think of a solution, or the way I would review a portfolio, it would be a different way somebody would view. So encouraging those kind of things and training and encouraging your team to go out there and connect with the different groups of people, different trainings, be part of organizations that are supporting inclusion. And I think that, yeah.
Yeah, I think Odette really said it right. And I think it's definitely training the upper management, right?
Yeah.
To all have, to kind of have a sense of the importance of having diversity and inclusion being part of the culture in your organization and business as well. And I think it's all about as well kind of having an open mindset to value the people that you have, the people that you have in your organization, like Odette said. So it's definitely training. It's training. It's reinforcing that culture within your business and organization. It's about hiring the right people, hiring people from different backgrounds and cultures and race, so that we can all thrive together and bring insights and insightful and innovative problem challenge solution to the things that we face, and and people that will basically as well speak the same language, because sometimes people they want the commonality, right? So I think if people feel like maybe they may be connected to Raj, they may not maybe feel connected to me. So I kind of have everybody that is gonna tackle into the community that we have, our province. So basically in that regard, yeah.
Wow, hugely insightful comments. Thank you, that was amazing. Let's talk about discrimination in the hiring process. Often when businesses get a resume or cover letter and see a name that is different, we can argue that there may be potential bias that results in their application being cut. Francine, what are different ways businesses can address this bias?
Oh, wow, that is really, I would definitely see, first of all, starting with hiring process, like the HR department, because that's where everything starts. And I think before the application reach the HR, there has to be somebody who is neutral, kind of take all these resume, screen through the resume. And personally, I would think that mask the names, like basically mask all the names, so that when it reaches to the HR, it's only based on their experiences and their education. So you're not categorizing people based on maybe on the name, because you find that so many people get disqualified even before they being called for the door. And you may have all the experiences, like education, but just because the name sounds, this is not an English name, they disqualify you.
They don't
right?
know,
Right.
yeah.
And I think if the HR department will definitely, so once that process of screening through the resume, masking the names and judging or qualifying people based on their experiences, and then when now calling people for interviews, you find that of course there are 3 or 4 people interviewing a candidate. So within those people that are there should be a diversity of people that will definitely, because so not only one group of people, but a diversity kind of committee that make decision on who to hire and not to hire, not based on your skin color, not based on your name or where you come from, because sometimes definitely so much bias. And I think I'll share something that personally I think I had this interview. I knew when I entered into, and thank God the interview was, there was a diversity really. Group. So there was somebody who was like a black, HR was there as well, a manager. So they were really beautiful. And when I entered into the room, I felt empowered. I felt like, wow, so this is really good. Yeah. I knew, even sharing my stories, that people, they're gonna understand it, even connect with my story and my background more than the other. So when all this comes together, I knew I have a better chance of getting a job. I won't be disqualified based on just how I look, or my background. So I think it's, if the HR department can implement that. And as well, I find people are definitely scared. I find young people are scared to definitely join certain professionals, right? Young people. And I think the more we kind of cultivate and give equal opportunity to every professionals, the more we are encouraging young people to join and to not be afraid to have limitation that this is the only profession that I can get in because I know this is the only one that I can get a job to, right? So I think that.
And just to add on that, like I know a lot of immigrant families that always have, it's like a big debate when they're naming their kid, like, you know what, we want him to succeed, but we don't want the name to be a hinder for them to get a job. Like it is, because I've seen my brother talk about this, like we want them to hire them because of their qualification, not just the name. So and that is just wrong in all levels. And so everything Francine said was really right. That's like filtering the hiring process and getting different diverse people on the panel when they're doing interviews. It makes the candidate feel at peace too. Like, you know what, I'm relaxed. I know I'm seeing the person who looks like me, or maybe who might look a little bit like, might understand what I'm sharing. So.
I love that idea of a diversity committee or council of some type for small business. I think that's a great idea. So great suggestions. We have Jess Carroll, Communications and Program Coordinator with the Chamber, here to ask a question.
Hi Francine and Odette, it's Jess, Communications and Program Coordinator here at the Chamber. My question shifts gears a little. It has been said that the pandemic will unfortunately take women 10 years back in the workplace. This question is for both of you. What is your advice for all young women in the workplace working towards a leadership position? Thank you.
I think just go for it. I honestly, there's so many, when we got here, I think I started my business just after 3 years of being here. Don't listen to what people are saying. A lot of people are going to tell you, you know what, mostly as a woman, you cannot do this. You know, oh, this is happening, and you know, you don't have to be part of the statistics. You know, I believe that we can create our own future, we can create whatever profession we want. I've seen immigrant women, we're now seeing so many women joining politics. I want to see more of that. And don't listen to what the statistics are saying. You don't have to be part of that. You just have to go for it, whatever you feel like you want to do. You want to be a lawyer, you want to be an engineer, you're an immigrant, you have a story like ours. We grew up, people said we could not be anything, you know, and then here we are, just 8 years 7 years in Winnipeg, and we have businesses, and they're growing, and the people that were telling us we can't be anything, now they're seeing that you can be anything you want to be, you know. And yes, the pandemic has really challenged so many businesses, mostly small businesses, because when a woman, let's say you give birth and you want to start a small business, it has slowed a lot of businesses, but you don't have to give up. You know, find different ways, join different groups that can go support you, have mentors. You know, having a mentor is such a big deal. So when you're going through a business transition or you're growing your business, have somebody that will hear you out and someone who is going to relate to you. But don't believe what you're hearing. You know, you can do it. Go for whatever profession you feel like you want to go for.
Love it.
I guess best on just adding, Jess, thank you for that question. I think adding on Odette said is definitely, I think, seeing the silver lining on everything. Yeah. And I think finding how we can thrive even within the pandemic, rising above the challenge and creating a different creative way on how we can either change the way we are conducting our businesses, things that we can implement in order to thrive in the present moment. I think that is really what we'll see, because you find there's so many businesses closing down right now. Yeah. But how can we think outside the box? How can we create something that will kind of relate to what we are going through right now? Mm-hmm. It's about being resilient, being persistent and consistent as well. And I think as well about women, it's about remembering your why. Every time when you want to give up, you need to remember and put your forefront, your why. Why did you start in the first place? And I find most of the time when a business is only centered around just making business and it's not just about giving to the community, it's not about empowering to the community, then you won't have so much motivation to sustain or to keep on just thriving within that. But when it's something bigger than yourself, when your business is just bigger than you find way to thrive in that, knowing that your life depends on it, and there are people out there watching. Your life should be your journey, either your business should mean something because you have a story to tell. A young girl that may want to start a business, how are we inspiring people? Because they say failure starts when you give up. It doesn't mean that when adversity comes, we need to give up, because business world, we're gonna find difficulties every time. We're gonna find roadblocks, but I think it's just about seeing the silver lining in everything. And having mentors, like Odette said, having mentors, people that you lean on, community group that you can join, like Winnipeg Chambers. You have so many resources that you can basically join to kind of feel empowered, to know that you are not alone in whatever challenge you're passing through right now. So I think it's about that.
I love your passion around female empowerment.
I love female entrepreneurs. I just love them. When I say a female I worked. I think a week ago I went to a store. I forgot the name, and it's for tools. I think it's a metal. I went to get. We had a beam we were doing in my house. My husband was building. So this shop is female owned. Wow. So it's a male. It's a male job, but the whole office was female. I was like, you're kidding me. This was so empowering, and I want women to know that you can do it. There's no roadblock that you cannot do. There's nothing that will stop you from achieving whatever you want to achieve. Don't let your gender, be like, I can't do this. We're in a point whereby women can do anything.
Love it. Great question from Jess to stimulate this
Thank you,
great
Jess.
conversation. Love it. That is all the time we have for today's Fireside Chat. Thank you so much for joining us for our discussion today, Francine and Odette. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. It's been
Before
so
we
fun.
break out into our networking breakout sessions, I want to invite you and your team to register for our upcoming virtual small business forum on December 3rd. Our forum comes just in time, our Shop Local holiday season, and our lineup of speakers at the forum will highlight top trends in marketing and sales. Register for free at winnipeg-chamber.com. Now it is time to do more networking. Let us move into our breakout seminars. This roundtable is your opportunity to maximize this experience and debrief what you learned today and how you will apply those lessons moving forward in your business. Listen carefully, because here is how it will work. On the left-hand side, you'll see a tab that says Sessions under the Stage tab. In each breakout room, the individual whose birthday is coming up will be the conversation facilitator. If you are the facilitator, please encourage each attendee to do a quick introduction. From there are 3 questions to guide each roundtable discussion. The 3 questions are: what is your own personal experience with racism and discrimination? How do you plan to take the meaningful action to advance our city's diversity and inclusion, specifically support of our Indigenous and Black communities? And finally, what are some of your favorite local, small business owned and operated by members of the Winnipeg diversity communities? Okay, now it is time to network and discuss with other members in your community. Please click on the Sessions button. Once your breakout session is done, you do not need to go back to the stage. The meeting will be adjourned. Have fun and happy networking.